iPhone that reportedly tracked your history of motion and stuff over time. And then it turned out that Android did the same thing and BlackBerry did the same thing. And people are very concerned about this, but what they're doing with that information is not tracking where you are, they're tracking use of their cell towers. And this provides them with data that can actually speed up the user interaction. So instead of having to press and wait for something to happen, they can rely on their own databases to try to do this a little quicker.
If you were lost, would they be able to find you, though?
I don't know whether without getting on too big of a tangent there, they've got abilities to be able to track phones, but the policies between AT&T and Apple are to be hands-off. A lost phone is a lost phone. So there are actually applications that you can get that help you with that. But location is a very big part of what we're doing now. And Foursquare is one of the main applications that's their main thing, is that they track location. And they do it because you, as a member, go in and say, I am now here. You use phones to do this. So you can't actually go in onto the site and say, I'm going to check in from here to say that I'm at the library. You need to have some type of device. It can be through text, but that just says, I am here. And the applications that they've now made on all of the major phone platforms are such that you can really just go in, it will do a search, it will use your identity or your location to be able to say, these are some of the places in the area, and more often than not, you're going to find something like the library that's all going to be there. You hit a button and you're done. So why do we want to do stuff like this?
Wait, can you back up
Sure.
1 second? So you have a little icon on your phone. How do you, when you go into Scholars Inn and I see that, and you check into Foursquare, how do you do it on your phone? You press an icon?
Yeah, so I've got a very prominent icon here that
Yeah.
has an application that I can launch for Foursquare. And for Android, for other ones, it's a very similar type of thing.
Okay, so show me, you actually click on that?
Yeah, and it will give me a list. I mean, the view that I'm seeing right now is the last view. And in this case, what I'm looking at is SOMA and Monroe County Public Library, because I've been there
Easy.
before.
So you click it and
Yeah,
then?
and then you just,
Get
what
out?
it will do is it'll give you a sort of a view of the check-in page, and there's a really big button like that says check in, and you hit it. And you can do things differently. You can disclose different amounts of information to different people at that moment. So every check-in isn't the same. If I were on a trip and I didn't want people to know that, but I wanted to get points because there's a social game that goes on with that as well. On Foursquare, you can become the mayor of a place. And with that, with certain businesses, you can get rewards. You can get discounts, or they'll treat you a little more special, or it's just bragging rights as well. And on this page is a running list of what's going in real time. These are people that are claiming mayorships or having recent activities on there.
Even in Italy.
Yeah,
China.
it's all over the place. And that's actually one of the benefits for location. If you're willing to share your activities in a place, somebody that's a friend can come in there later and sort of get recommendations about where to go based on your and other people that they know their activity. So this is really valuable if you're going to a place you haven't been before, but other people have been there. So if I ever went to Austin, I've never been to Austin, but we have a lot of people from this town that go there for South by Southwest, and if I ever had the chance to do that, that's one of the things I would look for, is where have my friends been while they're in Austin, and they may point to nightclubs, they may point to restaurants.
When you look that up, are you just getting where they've been, or can you go in and look for, like, comments they posted about those places?
It's all voluntary, but there are places to put comments. There are, when you check in, you could do a little note that will say, I'm here at the library, giving a training. And so that becomes, just like with Twitter, it becomes a record of, a very short-form record of what you're doing. So and people can respond to that as well.
So if you went to SOMA and you loved their White Blizzard or whatever it's called, coffee, you could make that part of your entry at SOMA. Yeah,
there's a comment that you can make during the check-in, but there's also things called tips, and the tips are for that purpose. So when I go to the library, if I knew a really secret, well-defined place that had a power outlet and really good wireless, I might put a tip there that said, when you want to use your laptop, go into this little room and there's a corner there, and that's it.
The newbie badge.
Yeah. And the badges, this is actually good that it's showing you all.
Fried chicken badge.
They mean different things, and they're achievements. So if you checked in on an election day, you get a little badge that said you voted. It's the voting badge. If you, when they had, about last month or just a few weeks ago, they had a Saturday that was Foursquare Day. And this is a New York company, and so the mayor said, we're going to declare this Foursquare Day. And then a number of communities around the world did this as well. So if you checked in that day, you also would get a badge and do things that you could do. And it's, you know, it's just like badges in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. You know, it's for doing something, and the more that you get, the prouder you are, the bigger stash, I guess, you need. But it's a way of you keeping track and other people to understand sort of how you're using the system. And there's different ways. Have any of you played Plants vs. Zombies? It's a very addictive game, but games like that have badge types of things too. You can go in certain situations, encounter certain ways, and if you achieve that or overcome that obstacle, they'll give you a little badge that says that you did that. And it's a way of not just having the same game every time. It was just, you know where you are, you can check in and stuff. That may not be as fun or drive you to do these things to have some type of mechanism. So what I'm going to do here is join now. I'm just going to go through this process. And what we see here is a very common thing with social networks now and any type of system is to leverage another social network for this. And by doing this, it's really a good idea to start with our previous talk and have a Facebook account first. A lot of times you'll see an option to do this with Twitter or option to do this with Gmail as well. And that's a way that you can leverage an existing account without creating yet another username and password combination for this. I may have a hard time doing this, though.
She hacked that account again.
Oh my goodness.
Well, this may be convenient. I'm not sure whether that's a good idea to do that. What I'm going to do is sign in with my Facebook, just so you can see what's going in here. But it's the same thing. You can also sign up with an email, and it will go through this process. That might be a thing that I can do. I really recommend going through the Facebook option, though.
And why do you?
Why do I? Because it's a way to have your same social network used again and again.
Okay.
And Facebook is, if you counted the number of people who are members and compared that to citizens of countries, they're like the third or fourth largest country in the world now. It's a very, very big community, very, very established, and this method of logging in is also very established. So it's a good way to not have to do this. I mean, it's a much longer process. In Facebook, they know my email, they know my location and some of this information, so it just sort of happens. I have to remember a password. Let me try my Indiana account, and I'm just going to make something up. It's optional, so the phone, it's generally you're going to be signing up for this if you have one of these or if you have a means to go around and doing this. This isn't for everybody, but these things are becoming much more prevalent than they used to be. It wouldn't be a bad idea for the purposes of this game to be able to sign up anyway, even if you're not going to be using this, because there are some mechanisms in the game that involve this platform. And part of what we're trying to do is get people to experience new things. So even if you choose not to do it, it'd be nice to know something about that so you can base it on your own experiences.
And I will tell you, don't forget to change the year, because I forgot to change the year, and so it wouldn't let me create an account because I'm not old enough.
Yeah, there are minimum ages that we encounter a lot, and so that's probably a flaw of the UI.
Right, because I have to reinstall it because it just blocks me.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can't set up an account.
Facebook will do that too, that if you go through your identity and you say you're under 13 or whatever the minimum is, you can just hit that email goodbye as far as using it with Facebook. So yeah, be very careful with that. That's a good point.
Is that your real birthday?
That's my real birthday.
Hey, that's enough.
All right, and it would just be true to what we have. I'm not going to do a picture right now, but like we've said with every one of these things, having a picture, having something visual is really important, particularly when you're talking about using these types of devices, because it's harder to read